Welcome to the PokePod. It's me, Brennon, your lovable host, and also my friend Dan. Say hello, Dan.
Hello, guys.
Hello, Dan.
Hi there.
Well, it is another week playing our favorite game, Pokemon Go. This week is episode
Pokemon Go.
yeah. This week is episode 5. Your Pokemon needs an IV stat, despite my terrible spelling. That is the name of the episode. We're going to talk about IV later in the game. In the podcast. I'm getting life confused with a game, Dan. I've fallen into the Matrix.
There is a small difference between real life and Pokemon Go.
Very small at this point.
You should not fight in gyms, for example.
Oh, yeah?
In real life.
I think I should claim them with punches. All right.
Don't try that.
Right. Yeah, that would be bad. Okay, stories of the week. My story of the week, I'm going to talk about a little bit about how family dynamic can kind of affect this. So, pretty much everyone in the house plays Pokemon Go. The other day, this was late last week, I believe Friday, I was sitting here, I work in my home office. And when I was working, I noticed I had my Pokemon up just for the random chance. I have never seen anything spawn at my house, ever. But just the random chance that it does, I thought, why not? But then I noticed something. On my little map indicator, there was a Slowbro. And I did not have a Slowbro.
Oh, God.
Yep, didn't have one. I never got enough Slowpokes to, or I hadn't yet got enough Slowpokes to upgrade one. And I was like, whoa, and I had a good idea where this is. There is a house, okay, one block over and up a little bit from me. So I'd say it's probably about 200 yards from here.
All right.
A little bit. Well, that's pretty close. And at that corner, rare stuff always spawns. Or not rare stuff, but just different stuff. It's almost all water-based because there's a lake behind it.
All right.
And at this house is this old couple, so I know they're not playing Pokemon Go. It is a location that is like one. You could probably have 10 Gyarados at this point with how often Magikarp spawn there.
Okay.
But I thought that has got to be where it is. So I went over there. Sure enough, sitting on their front lawn was a Slowpoke, or Slowbro. And also next to the Slowbro was Magikarp. So I went over there and caught it real quick. And I was like, all right, look what I got. And then I drove to get some lunch. And while I was driving, I had my thing up so that hopefully I can get some meters. Because you shouldn't play Pokemon. You should not do anything with Pokemon. But I leave it on next to me for the off chance.
You can do that, but never play while driving.
Do not play while driving. I have it sitting on the console. I do not play. But what's interesting about that is I got my food, and on the way back, I was stopped at a stop sign, and I looked down at it, and there was a Venusaur. And I was like...
Oh, is that the final form of Bulbasaur?
Yeah, Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the same day. And I had seen Bulbasaur down this one street. So I parked, got out, and started walking down the street. It's a short street. There was not far to go. And I was looking and looking. By the time I got to almost the other end of the street, he popped up. So, anyway, I was happy. Got back in the car, went home.
Nice. What's your Pokedex score right now?
Pokedex? I don't think it's that great. But Pokedex, 90.
Oh, I'm at... now I have to count 128.
Wow.
And Venusaur is one of the ones missing.
Really? Oh.
Yes.
Interesting. Yep, I have 90 for 90.
Yeah, I got 128 for 128.
So, when my son gets home, I was like, hey, look what I got. And this is the first time I'd ever seen in him. He was happy, but then he instantly changed his mood. And he was jealous. Like he was like upset, jealous that I got these Pokemon.
Oh
And
no.
this is the first time I'd ever had to deal with that with him. I'm trying to explain to him. I was like, no, no, no. When someone you care about is successful, you don't get upset. You should be happy in their success. And I said, you'll eventually get these Pokemon. It's not like these are the only ones that are ever get, but just trying to have that little life lesson with him saying, jealousy is bad. But I don't want to make
Yeah.
him feel like he's bad for feeling jealous, but maybe redirect that energy and that feeling to something more positive, trying to explain to him the benefit of helping out your friends and loved ones when they do well. Encourage them.
Sounds like a good life lesson.
Yeah, I thought it was. It was the first time I'd have to deal with it with him, so I was glad in a way that we had that opportunity. So what's your story of the week, Dan?
I just want to comment that you can learn about parenting on the PokePod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually caught a wild Slowbro right before this on my way back from the real gym where I lifted weights.
All right, getting in shape.
And my wife, who didn't have it, her phone ran out of battery exactly when it showed up, so she didn't catch it.
That's a bummer.
That's not my story. I formed the PokePod. I went to my friend's house, like 20 kilometers outside of the city.
Yeah.
Just so we were going to. My original idea was that we should bike around and catch the local gyms there, because he said there was very little action at those gyms.
Okay.
But then he was like, bike, that's a lot of hard work. And this is my highest level friend in Team Mystic. And he turned level 22 on this evening.
Okay.
And he never bikes, he seldom walks, but he works at an office right in the middle of Stockholm. So he has been going with a bus. There is a bus going from the office to his house. And it hits a lot of red lights. So he's just catching Pokemons wildly on the way.
Oh my goodness.
On the way to work.
Right.
Anyway, he was hungover, so the original idea was to drive around and catch the gyms, but then we had to walk. And his 13-year-old daughter, who is very much a teenager and thinks adults are bad, she was, I'll come along. So. That was one of the joys of this game, that you can unite families.
Oh yeah, it's so great at that, which is one of those things that's just like a happy consequence of playing the game.
Yeah, so we find the first gym, it's blue. So we train it up till it was rank 2 or level 2.
Sure.
We train it to 5, and then we go for pizza.
Uh-huh.
There is more beer involved. There was some beer before we left.
Sure.
And then we go out to the other gym, and it just turned blue. There were 2 gyms nearby. So and then there is this tiny guy, 11 years old, very proud, having taken down the gym.
Okay.
So we start to train that gym. And he's so happy that there are 3 other mystics there.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
he just won't stop talking. I feel
no.
And me being the highest level, he's talking to me all the time, and I feel like a super creepy guy talking to this level, standing there beating on the gym all the time. And it takes forever. It takes 15 minutes to get the gym from 1 to 4. And but we still have it, and it's 3 days ago.
Wow.
So we go back home to my friend, and then we are supposed to go out again, but the daughter won't follow us this time. So we get down to the central part of the suburb, where there are Pokestops and more gyms.
Right.
And then my friend finds a bar, and it's we can hit the gym and the Pokestop from this bar. We go into the bar, he buys some really nice IPA.
Okay.
And then we discover that we can't reach anything from this gym. So everything just derails.
Oh no.
And then it starts raining. And there's more beer involved, so everything just went south. But I still have the gym 3 days later.
3 days, that's amazing.
I left my 2,437 Snorlax in that gym, and he's doing a good job defending it apparently.
Wow. Way to go,
Yeah,
Snorlax.
so the 13-year-old Pokemon was beat out of the gym, so somebody beat my Snorlax, but they didn't stay around to take down the gym entirely.
Oh, wow. Huh.
But we
That's
still have it.
interesting.
That's my story.
Well, there you go, folks. Interesting. Okay, well, let's move on to a little bit of Pokemon Go news. Every week we try to bring you some news of import. The thing I want to talk about this week, they're based on a few things. The Pokemon Go anime, or Pokemon anime, not Go. There is a decent list of what we can expect the Generation 2 eggs to include. They've already talked about some of them, so it kind of makes sense. Here, I'm going to bring up a picture. Um, my remembrance of names is not the greatest.
I
So
don't know anything about Generation 2.
I'm going to try and say them on the air, and I know I will screw them up, and I apologize, but that's just how it's going to be. So, what we have, um, Cyndaquil, which I believe will be one of the new starters, Totodile, which will be another new starter, um, Hoot Hoot's going to be there, Pichu, Spinarak. These are all the 2K eggs. These are all the small ones.
Is Pichu baby Pikachu?
Yes.
All right.
And Togepi, Cleffa, which is the Clefable baby. I believe it's Wiggly Tough as
Wow,
the
they're cute.
yeah, no, the Jigglypuff baby. Oh, this mouse here turns into one that does sound, I believe. Gosh, I can't remember the names. It has been way too long since I've seen these. Um, then you have this one's pretty Miltank. This
Okay.
cow one down here. That's a pretty
Wow.
good one. Miltank. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. Who are some other notables? Um, do. Oh, the flying one. Who is this flying one?
If you want to see this graphic,
Yeah,
check out the YouTube channel Hard Nerd Cafe, where we post the PokePod episodes with some graphics.
yeah. And again, I apologize for not knowing all their names, but Slugma is a 5K egg. Um, Corsola, another 5K egg. One of the things that I don't understand, they put Remoraid, who is this little fish here,
Yeah.
who turns into one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, Octillery. I don't know how this genetic happens, but this little fish here turns into an octopus. Go figure.
Of course it does.
Yeah, because why wouldn't it? So let me see. Oh yeah, Elekid will be in there. I believe that's the 10K egg. Yep, an electric type. Looks like a plug on its head. Some of these are a little too obvious. Like another 10K egg is Magby. I kind of expected Miltank to be a 10K egg, but I guess it won't be.
Huh.
Lugia, that's what I'm thinking of. That's going to be the one I figure will be the one that everybody's going to want out of the 10K eggs. That dragon. Psychic
Yeah.
flying Lugia. Um, one thing I don't see on here, there's Hoot Hoot as a 2K egg, but I don't see Ho-Oh as any other egg. But I guess you can just upgrade your Hoot Hoots to the Oho. But
Do we
anyway,
know how will these be specific eggs, or will they just be put into the slot of 10K egg, so you still can get Generation 1 Pokemons?
that's a good question, and I think something we might need to discuss in great depth, and probably in an upcoming episode, because I can talk about it for a long time.
All right.
Yeah, because what Dan brings up right now is a very good question, because right now, you're probably bored of catching Pidgeys and Weedles and all that. But when they double the amount of, let's call them common Pokemon, the
Yeah.
ability to level up Pokemon becomes exponentially harder because you just
Yeah,
won't get
because
as many.
there's twice as much candy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then we're talking Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. How are they going to do this? Are they going to get rid of the old ones all become rare? You know what I mean? Because you can't have, if we got up to Gen 8 or whatever you want to call it, if we get all the way up to there, and then you have for commons, oh geez, you know, 200 and something. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Is there a
So,
date for Generation 2?
it looks like either end of year or first quarter next year.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah. Oh, and also one of the funniest named um, Pokemon ever, Stantler. It's a deer Pokemon. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah. I just hope to have. I hope you can upgrade to Octillery because that's a good Pokemon in the game. Oh, and what is the Pine Cone one? Let me think. I might have to look that one up. Yeah, Pine Co is the Pine Cone. That's a
Alright.
5K egg. All right. Anyway, enough about that story. Dan, do you have any news stories for this week?
Yeah, I got two pieces of news. First, Niantic have reversed some of the bans. So
Whoa.
they are going through all the bans they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were a lot of bans, and the user base dropped by 10 million the day after the bans. But they didn't ban 10 million people because it coincided with the school starting again.
Oh yeah.
So that was probably the reason. But gameplay is down quite a bit, but from an extremely high level. But what they're doing now, they're going through the bans and checking if it's possible that this was done not knowing that you were breaking the terms of service.
Sure.
So some apps you could be using and stuff, they are now deemed innocent. So you will get your account back. But you are entirely doomed if you were data scraping or GPS spoofing.
Yeah.
Then you are gone forever. And you could kind of guess that this is what happened because it's what happened with Ingress. So they're still, yeah, they're
Oh
using all the
really?
experience from Ingress.
Huh. That's interesting. You would
Yeah,
think they
they
would have.
know this. They
Yeah.
know how to do this.
I was about to say you would think they would have learned their lesson to try to prevent it since they had the same problem with Ingress.
I think they didn't expect the full like third party thing
Oh,
so
okay.
quickly. The other piece of news is that the French education minister calls for rare Pokemon Go creatures to be banned in schools. Way
Okay.
to go, France! There is also a mayor of a French town who is trying to work for a ban from the entire town for the game as a whole.
Why? Why on
So
earth
the
would you
whole
want to
of
do that?
Liberty, France, the country where they are now trying to um, protect women from being forced what to wear by forcing them what to wear.
Yes.
But the story about the schools are that rare Pokemon will attract strangers into schools who could be dangerous.
Dun dun dun. I guess that's possible, but there's no way to currently know. Well, I guess they're working on putting it in there about where a rare one's gonna spawn.
Yeah, and I think Niantic is listening to this because there's been some riot-like experiences with that stampede in Central Park, and there was a huge incident in Taiwan when a Snorlax spawned.
Right. And everybody, yeah, once word got out. That's true.
Yeah, so that's my news.
All right. News you can use. Okay, we're going to talk about tips and tactics.
And this will be our most complicated tips and
Oh,
tactics so
yeah.
far, I think.
I believe, Dan, you have done some research into Pokemon IV and what it means to the, I guess we could say, health and well being of your fighting Pokemon.
Yes, we mentioned the appraisal feature in last episode, and the appraisal
Yes.
feature is a way to get these individual values in a simpler manner, so the game should still stay children friendly.
Right.
Because this game is less complicated than earlier Pokemon games. So they're hidden stats. So every Pokemon in Pokemon Go
Mm-hmm.
has 3 hidden stats. And those are attack, defense, and stamina. And I still haven't figured out if stamina is just hit points or if it has some other impact.
Um, for stamina, no, because it's also affects CP as well.
Yeah, they all affect CP, I think.
Yeah, attack does. Yeah, because you have okay. Its main indicator is stamina plus IV stamina, because you can have a base stamina for each Pokemon. Each Pokemon will have no less than this
Yeah.
stamina.
So the 3 stats are attack, defense, and stamina.
Yeah.
And by some really clever engineering, people discovered how to calculate these values based on the little things the HP and the combat power, the CP.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you evolved your Pokemon, you could by the amount it increased in CP
Mm-hmm.
and hit points, you could calculate this mathematically. And there are sites such as the Silph Road, Poke Assistant, and Game Info, where you
Yep.
can do these calculations.
That's
But
correct.
yeah, and that is the IV. So with the IV, you see the potential of or the fighting power of your Pokemon, which doesn't need to be the same as your CP.
Mm-hmm.
And this becomes relevant, for example, if you have 2 EVs and they are 600 CP and 590 CP. If they're close, the lower one could be the better one if it has a better individual value. So what I've done early in the game was just to evolve the one with the biggest CP, and I think it worked fine. But sometimes it is wrong if you really want to min-max the fighting ability of your Pokemon.
Yeah, I can explain how that affected me, because I did the same thing Dan did. I didn't think there was any way to get. I just assumed that the CP was going to be part of that. That was it. CP is what you're going to have to base it on. But I should have realized that, like every other Pokemon game, IV was the thing. So early on, when I was just figuring out the game, way back in early July, so long ago.
Oh, in the ancient past of Pokemon
Yes.
Go.
I put a lot of dust into a Jolteon that was terrible. So, all that stuff could have gone into my Flareon, which was a wonder, an amazing Pokemon according to Blanche. But now I'm stuck with a subpar Jolteon. So, I wish they had released this sooner.
Yeah, so the question is then if you can rely on your gym leader statements and just go on that. So if you have the 2 similar Pokemon that you could evolve and one of them is better according to your gym leader,
Mm-hmm.
is there a chance that it's wrong? Or could you go with that? And if they are the same, should you use an IV calculator, or how big do you think the difference is?
Um, from the differences I've seen, the above average is, well, first of all, the won't make much headway in a gym, or the negative comment the gym leader makes, that is
Yep.
50% and below. So that's going to cover the most Pokemon right there. So
Never
those,
evolve
yeah,
those.
you just throw those back. The above average, from what I've seen, is like 15%, and then like basically from 51 to 66, I think. And then the caught my eye is 67 to 80 ish. And then the it's a wonder is the 81 to 100%.
Yeah. So
So
the comment you should look for is if your Team Instinct, it's overall your Pikachu looks like it can really battle with the best of them. For Team Valor, it's overall your Pikachu simply amazes me. It can accomplish anything. Or for Team Mystic, then it's a wonder. What a breathtaking Pokemon.
yes, it's
And that's
simply
the 80 to
breathtaking.
100% range.
Yep.
Should you care about the other comments about the stats?
You know what? I think you probably should, if you're going to have different Pokemon defend gyms as opposed to fight gyms.
We are talking about the difference here that I don't think can be bigger than 10%.
Right.
So if the difference in CP is bigger than 10%, you should probably go with the one with bigger CP.
That's true. Yeah. When I'm looking for, especially if you see something like a Vaporeon, and it said its most impressive stat is its attack, which that's the one you need to go and fight gyms with. And
Good
then
point.
if, yeah, and then if you have a Executor or something to that effect that says its most impressive is its defense, that's the one you stick in that gym. Because another thing happened to me this past week. I took on a 5 level Team Valor gym. I just want to see how far
Yeah.
I could go. I made it all the way up the rank. I had lost 3 Pokemon, and it timed me out.
Oh no!
It said, "Your time's up," and it threw me out of the gym. I made it all the way up
Wow.
there by myself.
I
And
didn't
so
know it could do that.
I didn't either. I didn't know that was an option. But I was doing a whole lot of
It
dodging.
takes forever.
Yeah, it did. I went to a restaurant and ordered food. I was going to bring it back to the house. And so while I was waiting, it took like 20 minutes. It it did that. It timed me out.
Oh
So,
my god.
yeah, it's crazy.
That's a big deterrent to taking on big gyms by yourself.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. That would be a
I
big
usually
deterrent.
don't attack level 4 gyms by myself just because it takes so much time to take them down.
Right.
But I didn't know you could time out.
Yeah. The reason I did is because the 2 lowest creatures in that red gym, those level 5 were like 600 and 800 CP.
Yeah,
And I was like, I could just blow through them and then concentrate on the last 3.
of course.
And it still gave me the experience and took experience away from that gym as if I had won, but I don't think I got as much experience because it knocked out the 2 lower ones. Like it took away enough XP to bring it down to level 3.
Wow. But you
So,
never beat all the 5.
nope, I didn't.
Okay. Interesting.
So, but the one I was fighting with was a breathtaking wonder, according to Blanche. So, seemed good to me.
Yeah. So
Oh,
if you feel that we missed something with about IV
hmm.
and attack, defense, stamina, please let us know.
Yeah. And to let us know, you can contact us at any of these fine locations. On Twitter at Dan Horning. You can contact Dan or me. I'm at Cerulean Says Hi, like the Cerulean Gym. Except I spell it with a Y, which confuses people. So CYRULEAN says hi is my Twitter. Also, facebook.com/the PokePod podcast. And you can view us and leave any number of comments, negative or positive. We'll take them all on Hard Nerd Cafe on YouTube. It's the home of the PokePod.
You can also review us on iTunes. We love iTunes reviews, and we'll read all of them on the show. Even if you hate us.
We don't care. We'll read them. We'll read that
Yes.
hate mail. We probably won't say any slurs or swearing, but, go for it.
We are
replace
family
it.
friendly,
Right.
except for stories about beer.
Yeah, well, parents, teach your kids responsible drinking. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Well, I guess that's going to conclude it. For this week, I am Brennon.
And I'm Dan.
And this has been the PokePod.